I heard this statistic the other day that absolutely rocked me. Before 2010, the group of people who were most likely to self-harm was incarcerated males, so men that have been in jail. Though after about 2010, this started to change, and today the group with the highest rate of self-harm is teenage girls between the ages of 13 and 16. Now, I don't know about you, but this absolutely floors me. Mostly because it didn't used to be this way. As an educator, I've been hunting for answers. Along the way, I've stumbled across a book by Jonathan Haidt called The Anxious Generation. In the book, Haidt puts an airtight theory together about the stellar rise of anxiety and depression since the 2010s. Haidt talks about the shift occurring in two main areas. The first is what he calls the end to the play-based childhood, which refers to the shifting parental attitudes about letting their children out into the world with freedom.
I'm worried about what you're doing. What's going to happen to you out there?
And the second, much more impactful shift is that smartphones hit the mainstream and all of a sudden you had social media in your pocket 24/7, moving children and young people into what Haidt calls a phone-based childhood. And I think this all makes sense to us. Just as freedom diminishes in the real world through fear, worry, alarming news stories, or extra rules, the internet opens up unlimited content, entertainment, all hours, or easily accessible, with some of the best companies in the world all competing for our attention. Even as adults, we know how hard it is to resist the allure of our algorithmic teat, how easy it is to fall into its cyber-simulated warm embrace. And we have supposedly fully formed frontal cortexes, apparently able to make decisions, control impulses, and manage emotions effectively. The poor kids, they've hardly even got any defenses towards this stuff yet. Our teenagers are suffering from extremely high levels of anxiety and depression through phone and social media use, and limited play and freedom in the real world. So what do? The Australian government has made quite a play. A world first, in fact, dubbed the social media delay. From December 10, Australians under the age of 16 will not be allowed to use social networks or social media. This includes Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, TikTok, with big penalties issued for companies who don't enforce this policy on their users. And honestly, after talking with a lot of my students, I think they're actually relieved. Just a quick story. After the Charlie Kirk incident online, I'd seen a couple of videos that had popped up in my feeds, and a lot of you had as well. It was pretty intense stuff. And it just got us chatting in class with some of my grade 10s and then some of my grade 8 students. And I was feeling pretty shocked at what I'd seen. It had affected me, overnight. I couldn't sleep, that kind of thing. And I was just kind of curious at how they seen it. Not only had everyone seen that video, they had all seen countless other videos of death and horrific acts all online. A lot of them had actually even seen the videos as they woke up. First thing they looked at with their phone, boom, multiple angles of murder, multiple angles of different killings, just constantly on their feeds. And I don't know about you, but I've tried to fix up my algorithms in different places at different times, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it works for a little bit, then sometimes it doesn't. All these videos find their way back to you. And just knowing how much it affected me as a grown man, and realizing how often these guys were seeing more and more of these videos, even way more than me, and just how intense that is on a young brain to be understanding the world and how safe you are, how normal these things are. It really hit home for me around that time. So the social media rules are changing, and I think that's a good thing. What else do we need to do around this? Is it just going to work that all of a sudden the government puts in a rule and everyone just follows along? Probably not. I think it will help a lot of the issue, but I think there's more we can do. So in the book, Anxious Generation, Jonathan Haidt talks a lot about solutions to this challenge. And one of the first things he puts in is that delaying social media use to 16. So the Australian government's already taking on that advice and going down that path, which is great for everyone, because that seemed to be one of the biggest fights that we might be up against. The other one is delaying smartphone use until high school, so 14. So really not giving just that unfettered access to young people to their smartphone, to having internet connections, just delaying that. And if everyone delays that, if everyone holds off on that, it makes it a lot easier to make that a norm. And maybe even making it a norm in our society that, you don't get your smartphone until you're 14. That's just the rule. That's the normal thing. Just like you don't get your license till you're 16, you don't get your, you can't drink alcohol till you're 18. That same sort of idea. 16 is social media as well. The next one is phone-free schools, which our school has already done, and it has been awesome. A few days of unrest and upset from the kids, but then after that, it's been smooth sailing. Obviously, kids will try and get phones back in at different times, but just having a strong policy around that, it has changed our school for the better. And the last one is more unsupervised play and real world responsibility. And this is the next part what I want to work on with our school, is just building a greater sense and chance for play and for unsupervised play in the best way we can do it at a school, and just more freedom in that space to explore, to create, to have fun in different ways. And so that's the first thing as wellbeing coordinator I'm looking to try and do within our school, is build out the fun in the yard so the break times are more enjoyable, more entertaining, more engaging for the kids in lots of different ways. Installing monkey bars, getting old tires there to build with, old building materials that are roughly safe, outdoor mats, and maybe tramps, good old-fashioned handball lines. Big project I'm working on is to try and get bikes within the school with a fix-it club, so you can have bikes that are used in the yard, and then when they break, we've got a crew that works to fix them. Some outdoor whiteboards or chalkboards and concrete chalk as well to just get the creativity flowing, and a slack line. So building up that risky play, building up the chances for the kids to be just working on different skills, reaching their limits in different ways. And tree climbing. So bringing that back in, the old figuring out ways, doing the risk assessments, looking at the ways we can make these activities relatively safe within a boundary, so that they're getting the chance to have and learn about risk in healthy ways. And I guess one of the last ways that Jonathan Haidt talks about helping this situation is through really embracing the feeling and sensations of awe. So really looking for opportunities for our students, for our kids, for ourselves to get into and feel awe and to experience it through nature, through the world, through the built environment, through people. So exploring that, I've been heading out lately with my drone and going and following the whales as they're heading south back down to Antarctica across the east coast of Australia, and just following along these huge creatures as they're breaching and they've got their calf with them and they're just swimming and exploring in this beautiful clear water. It's been stunning. So I've really felt that sense of awe, and it takes you away from any other digitally simulated feeling you could be getting, and just it's not even there when that stuff's happening. You're so engrossed in that experience. And so really just trying to tap into that a little bit more as we can in our days is definitely something I'm going to be trying to bring in more and more. So for those who are interested, I recommend reading this book, Anxious Generation. There's heaps more detail in there, heaps more understanding of the problem, and then also the solutions. Lots of data, more graphs like I've shown you today. But I think the main thing is recognizing that this is a serious thing that needs to be shifted and changed and worked on. And the fact that we've got a leading part in the government in legislating a new policy around social media use for under 16s. It's kind of a rare thing when I don't think even our communities are caught up. I think the sentiment is there, but we haven't figured out the organisation or anything like that. So that's actually, good one, government. Well done. But as for our teenage girls, these are just some of the steps we're gonna have to do to help figure out this mental health challenge and crisis that we're in. I think if we work together, if we organise together, we can do this. But it is going to take a bit of organising and a bit of action. So we'll get there though.